My name is Hannah, and this is my Year of Less stuff. Hey y'all, today in the rotating miniature art gallery of my videos that we have here, I am showcasing this little oil painting, which we like to call 2 Beets. Joe bought it at the Goodwill in Portland about 8 years ago. We also have a persimmon and a green bell pepper. It's a little triptych, so maybe those ones will show up in future videos. This video is, shockingly, both to you and to me, another makeup declutter, and it's a pretty hefty one. I did a very thorough and protracted multi-video makeup declutter before the end of the year. I wanted to get all of the chaff out of my makeup collection before I inventoried everything at the beginning of my Year of Less stuff, so that I would only be counting things in the inventory that I felt like really sparked joy, the things that I felt like were really my belongings at the beginning of the year. And not even 1 month into the Year of Less stuff, I realized that I didn't get all of the chaff out. I think it was a combination of just feeling how it feels to be in the Year of Less stuff and feeling how it feels to be focused on reducing the number of my things and really having an edited group of the things that I use to put on my woman costume at the beginning of the day. So my makeup, my skincare, my clothes, etc. Just really feeling the reality of like what I have and stacking that up against what I want, like what my goal is with the Year of Less stuff. That is different than how I felt last year when I was doing my declutter and just kind of anticipating the whole project. Actually being in the project feels different and it feels more serious. So that's part of what's motivating this declutter. But also, I've bought things. I've bought some stuff. I bought cream blushes. I just did a cream cheek product haul. I purchased 6 cream cheek products that I really, really love. And as soon as I had sort of settled into having those things and knowing that I was going to love and use them, I was like, I gotta make some room in my blush and highlight drawer because I don't want to add 6 things in without making even more space than I made at the beginning of the year, at the end of last year, at the beginning of this year. And I think that that kind of set off a Jacob's ladder of me just like wanting to do even further of a purge across all of the categories of my makeup, and that is what I proceeded to do. So I actually already did it, and I have the decluttered things here. This is going to be one of those declutter videos where I just go through the things that I'm getting rid of and show them to you one by one and talk through my decision-making process like that. So let's go ahead and get into the meat of the video. I want to start with brushes because brushes, that's a category that I didn't declutter actually at the end of last year. I kind of was like, I don't have too many brushes. I'm fine. I don't really need to like go there. I just didn't feel like the pressing need for a brush declutter. And then when I did my inventory, I counted my brushes and I had, I think like 65. I think I had like 65 brushes, something in the 60s. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And so then I started thinking about the fact that I had too many brushes, and then I started really noticing how much chaff there was in my brush collection and really taking myself to task. Like, I think there's something in me and maybe something in all of us that appreciates abundance. And there was part of me that kind of was appreciating the feeling of abundance in my brush collection and not wanting to get rid of brushes for that reason. I kind of have gotten more serious about like pushing back against that proclivity for abundance and realizing that what will actually make me happier is having a much more edited brush collection and then washing it more frequently. I think another thing with brushes is we tend to think, well, if I have doubles and triples and extras and backups, then I don't have to wash my brushes as often. But that backfires on me because what happens is I use the ones that I really love until they're super dirty. Then I start using the ones that I don't love as much, and that's not great. Like, I don't want that. I want to only use the ones that I love. So if I have backups, that's what I do. I use the ones that are really dirty. Or I use the ones that I like less. Then they are all really dirty. And if there are 65 of them and they're all really dirty, washing them feels like such a chore that I keep putting it off and putting it off. I think it will be better for me if I have way fewer brushes and they are all perfect. Like, they're all the ones that I want to be using. When they're all dirty, there will only be like 20 eye brushes and like 4 face brushes, and then washing them is but the work of a moment, and it won't be something that I put off and that I stress out about and that I don't feel like doing, because washing just 20 brushes is like nothing compared to washing all 65, which I recently did to prepare for this declutter. Here are the brushes that I decluttered. I think that there might be a couple in here too that were actually new that didn't fit into this Thank yeah, here they are. This brand Elysium sent me their brushes and their lashes a while back, and I really like the lashes. I really like them. I like the colored tips and I like the quality of them. I like applying them, I like using them. And the brushes are also very beautiful. I like the shapes. A lot of the shapes of the small Elysium brushes, the eye brushes, are exactly like the shapes of the Rephr brushes. They have a little pencil brush that's just like the Rephr brush. They have a little sort of domed flat brush that matches, I think, the Rephr 02, like one of the other Rephr brushes that's my super all-time favorite, but they're synthetic. And for me, that's not as ideal. They're a little bit stiffer. They don't pick up product as much, but when they're in my brush container together with my Rephr brushes, they confuse me because they look a lot like the Rephr ones. And since I received these brushes and incorporated, not these ones, but the eye brushes from Elysium and incorporated them into my collection, I can't tell you how many times I have grabbed either the pencil brush or the flat domed brush thinking it was a Rephr brush and then gone with it and been like, it's not working the way that I want it to, So even though the shapes are very lovely of those brushes and I thought that it was a no-brainer, I decided to take them all out of my collection because I am so fortunate to be on the receiving end of Rephr PR. Those Rephr brushes, they are so amazing. I'm a complete convert. And so I really, part of what I was doing in this declutter was taking all the brushes out of my collection that are not Rephr, unless they are sort of individual brushes that I've really grown fond of over time for some kind of super specific use. There are a handful of those, but I would say at this point 80 to 90% of the brushes that are back there in my collection are the Rephr brushes that I've received in PR. So I took out all of the Elysium brushes. These are the Elysium eye brushes that I thought I would like because of the shapes, didn't end up liking because of the stiffness of the bristles compared to my Rephr brushes. If I didn't have those brushes from Rephr, I would keep these and keep using them. I'm just spoiled. And then this foundation brush I thought I would like. It's also from Elysium, but again, it's just like a bit stiff for me. I haven't been using it, so I'm getting rid of all of these and these two unused ones. All of my Morphe brushes that are left from all of the declutters that I've ever done, they just don't stack up to the ones from Rephr. I like the shapes. I hand-picked them at the Morphe store, but they've just become stagnant in my collection. I don't use them anymore. Even this like thin, flat sort of shader one for underneath the eyes, I just don't reach for it anymore. There are a couple little random ones in here. Like this is a nice e.l.f. brush, but it's broken and it has tape around it, and I'm trying to edit it down, so why not? A couple of sort of big complexion style brushes that just aren't as ideal for me. When I'm using like a concealer or foundation brush, I tend to use the same one, literally the same one, over and over and over and over and over again. I really only need one brush like this. I have the one that I like and I don't need any of these. This is the one Rephr brush I'm decluttering. It's their fan brush. I just don't use a fan brush. I just don't. I never use it. So I'm gonna give this away to someone who will like it. And then other little ones, the Persona one that came with their eye kit, it's nice, but again, like I have the same shape in the Rephr brushes and I'm gonna always wanna use those. A little lip brush I don't really use, another little foundation brush, the one that came with the Kevyn Aucoin Balm foundation, like all of those. So that's a ton of brushes. Then this little was like a Sephora collection perk or something, I'm not sure. So I just counted them up and that's 23 brushes overall that I decluttered from my collection. So if I had 65, that takes me down to the close to 40, right? Yeah, that takes me down to like the 40-ish realm. That still feels like a lot to me. I don't know. When I transitioned from not being that into makeup to being very into makeup brushes in abundance, that's something that I never really got used to, I feel like. So 40 still seems like a lot of brushes, but for me, especially compared to what it was, it's great. And I definitely feel like everything's very clear and organized now in my brush collection. So I'm really excited to have done that. I'm gonna go ahead and mark the 23 brushes on my stuff out list. Awesome. And this reminds me to tell you that Rephr asked me if I wanted to be affiliated with them. And I was like, yes, 1,000 times yes. Like they didn't used to have an affiliate program. I think they're starting like a really sort of like small one, like not a lot of codes. And I'm so honored that they asked me to be part of it because talk about a brand that I like just unhesitatingly recommend and I'm really, really happy to talk about on my channel. I am very proud to now be able to have a discount code with them and it'll be down in the description box below. But I think it only works if you buy the full set. So that's something that I'm a little bit like, if I literally like my house burned down, like lost all of my brushes, that is the occasion on which I personally would splash out and buy the whole set of Rephr brushes. only in that situation would I do it. So I would say maybe if you literally have no makeup brushes, or you're looking to get rid of all of yours and just start fresh and like replace them, and you really, it's like you've been saving to do it and you've been comparing and contrasting brush brands and trying to decide which brand you want to go with for that specific investment in your makeup life. If that's your situation, then I would say yes, 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 Refer all the way. And the discount is huge. I think that if you buy the full collection at full price, it's like in the $400 range, like 400 and something dollars. And then I think if you use my code, it goes down to like 200 and something dollars. I think, I'm not sure specifically on the numbers, but it'll be all down in the description box below. So this is just to say, even though I have a code for that, now I'm not over here going to be like, buy all the Refer, like buy, you know, 200 something dollars worth of brushes all at once. I think that's a great idea. I only think that's a great idea in certain situations. But if that's your situation, then I'm very proud to be able to say I have a code that you can use that will save you a ton of money. And there's something going on right now with the bronzer brush, their new bronzer brush, which I know I don't have it yet, but they are sending it to me. It's in the mail. That's another thing that motivated me to declutter my brushes, because I knew that this brush from Refer was in the mail, and I was just like, I would like to move out 23 to make room for one. Like, that's the kind of life I want now. But it's supposed to be really, really similar to the Tom Ford bronzer brush that I am so in love with. And I know that Tom Ford no longer makes that brush in goat hair. They only make it in synthetic hair. So it's really great that Refer is now offering a beautifully made goat hair dupe essentially for that iconic Tom Ford bronzer brush. And I think what's going on right now is that if you buy the full set, it goes into production, but they are able to ship the bronzer brush right away. I think that is what Tom told me. All the details will be down below. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned that in this video because I think the affiliate program launched recently and I just got my code, so I had to tell you sometime. All right, let's move on to the rest of what's in this box. I looked long and hard at my eyeshadows, my palettes, and there were a couple others on the chopping block besides this one. The Kevyn Aucoin what's it called? Nude Pop Palette. I almost included in the declutter, and then I tested it out on my eyes, and it is just, the shadows are just so soft. I didn't have anything on my eyes when I was decluttering, and I was testing it. I just dipped a brush in, whoosh, 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 and I suddenly had this just sultry, soft, really like a mauvey purple matte look, but it was like, I mean, I just could not deny how pretty it was, and I was like, I'm gonna try to make more use of this before I declutter it. But this is a makeup item that I retain just in case I ever want to do something super editorial, just in case I ever want to go for the brights. I haven't used it in like kind of years. I have reached into it a couple of times when I shot my stash or when I really wanted to do something bright or in makeup playtime and all of this stuff, but it takes up too much space to be worth it to keep for those reasons. And I have so many singles that I love. I have bright colors. I'm much more into texture and shine and really like refractive pigment and glitter. I'm much more into that right now in terms of like an editorial statement than I am into pure matte color, which is what this is. Sorry, I'm holding up. I just like assume that everyone knows what's in here. A bunch of very, very beautifully made, well-performing neon pigments. I'm not using this right now, and I feel like if the day comes when I want this again and I strongly regret having decluttered it, I can buy singles in whatever the colors are that I want, the neon colors, from an indie brand, and that will make me very happy to be able to support an indie brand. And I'm sure there are things that are of equal quality to this that are out there. When that day comes, that is what I'll do, but that day might never come, and in that case, I'll be really glad the whole time between now and when that day either comes or never comes. I'll be glad to have the space in my life that I'm making by giving this away. I decided to clear out some primer products, some complexion products. This is really interesting. I kept this through my declutter, the ColourPop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Tinted Moisturizer. It's nice and it does match me pretty well, fair one and the lightest shade. It's so lotiony. It really is a lotion, and it's hard to get it for me not to be streaky. You have to really rub it in with your hands the way you would rub in like a sunscreen or a lotion. I recently started testing out the Covergirl Clean Fresh Skin Milk in 510 Porcelain. Lauren gave this to me. She got Covergirl PR. I think she went to their launch party for that, and she got this. They're very similar, but the Covergirl is a bit lighter and more neutral, so it matches me even better. And it dries down better and it stays better. It's not like a lotion on my skin all day that feels like I could just, you know, press my finger into it and leave a fingerprint, which is what this does feel like all day. It really has impressive staying power for how sheer and dewy it is. So this is basically knocking the ColourPop out of my collection because this is currently in purgatory, but I am planning to keep it. These two primers, I've got that Glossier Future Dew that I purchased to review. I have a new bottle of the VDL Lumilayer primer that Simbri gave me. I just used up 2 other primers that are now in my empties. So what I have left are one Radiance primer, one sort of blurring primer, and one kind of like neutral glowy primer. Those 3 primers that I have that are really nice and I do want to use, I like them, all 3 of them, less than the VDL and the Future Dew. So that makes 5 that I'm keeping, 2 of which I really love and I'm always going to be using. So I decided to get rid of the 2 glowy primers. They're the ones that are like the most competing with the Future Dew and the VDL. One is the Becca Backlight Priming Filter, and then the other is the Base Glow Sheer Light from 1/1. I really like both of these products. This gives me more of a metallic glow than the kind of clear glassy glow that I really love. And then this one from 1/1 is very beautiful, but it's a tiny bit darkening on my skin. So both of these are just subpar enough to get edged out in a declutter like this. I also decided to let go of these 2 half-finished setting sprays because I've been watching Hyram. I'll try to remember to link Hyram's channel down below. It's just Hyram. That's his name and that's his channel name, just one word, one name. I subscribed to him when he had, I think, fewer than 100K. I think he had like, yeah, he had like 70K subscribers when I subscribed to him not earlier this year, but towards the end of last year. And then his channel blew up and now he's at like 600K or something, and he well deserves it. He's so fun to watch, such a strong presence on YouTube. Hyram takes a firm stand against fragrance, and especially when it comes to a mist, like something that you're spraying on your skin over and over, that you're spraying on top of your skin. He talks about how essential oils, especially like citrus oils, can kind of counteract the effects of your sunscreen and cause free radical damage. And I don't think that this has those kinds of fragrances in it, but it does have perfume, it does have parfum. It doesn't have essential oils, it does have parfum. And the Pixie one, he actually even talked about this specifically and how the olive oil in it, which is its second ingredient, isn't even that great for the skin, and it's potentially a little bit pore clogging. So it's as if I had these and I was using them, and it's as if I have been sort of pushing through using them, but at this point, every time I use one of them, I feel like it might be not that great for my skin. I just don't feel that excited about using them anymore. And I had some sprays in the backups box. Like I had some other sprays that I was like slogging through these to get to them. And I'm just like, why? Like, why not just declutter these and just move on to the ones that I feel a little bit more confident that I'll really enjoy using? At this point in my life, it's not saving me time, it's not saving me money because I have other ones that I can use, and I don't use setting spray that often anyway. And there's setting sprays flooding the market right now, so I have a feeling that more are going to come in PR. It started to make less and less sense to keep these around as I've gotten further into my year of less stuff. So these are gonna go. Okay, let's keep going with complexion products because I made some difficult and scandalous decisions. And this was pretty much what kicked off the whole event. And it was very much triggered by my cream blush haul. The fact that I really spent some money and energy this month collecting some blushes that are exactly what I want to be using for the foreseeable future. And that caused me to really hold my feet to the fire about the blushes that I've been keeping around in my blush collection and highlighters just because. And so I decided to get rid of all of them. This one, the Jelly Dough Blusher from Holika Holika, I already decluttered. It's an exact tone match for the ColourPop Roosevelt stick. And then I pulled it from my giveaway box because I realized that I really liked reaching into it with a brush instead of using the stick. I had significant pan on it, and I was like, why not just keep going? That made sense to me back when I didn't have any cream blushes in pots, or I think I had like 2 cream blushes in pots. Now I have 4 more that I added into my collection this month. So I decided that I can let go of this once and for all, and I think that that's really going to be it. I'm keeping Roosevelt, the cream blush stick from ColourPop, but I'm going to get rid of Mercy Me. It's a much paler, sort of like orangey color. It looks really beautiful in the stick. I originally wanted it because it looked like it might be a dupe for Kjaer Weis Precious, which is a very, very pale, slightly peachy nude. This is very pale and peachy, but it's not really nude. It's more orange. And so it's brighter than I thought it would be. I rarely reach for it. And also it has like a weird foamy consistency, very, very melty. It doesn't have the firm blendability of the other one. I think that there was something a little bit wrong with this when they poured this exact stick. It's like it has a bunch of air in it. This was the hardest one. I went back and forth, back and forth. This is my Givenchy Le Prism blush in Aficionado Peach. I purchased this myself well before I had a YouTube channel. It was probably in 2016 or 17 that I purchased this. It's discontinued. The color Aficionado Peach is discontinued. And it is a truly stunning blush. So natural, but in that matte way that's very high-end. Like it really looks like a high-end blush. I'm not gonna put it on right now. I don't wanna show it to you right now, but it's a little bit satin, but it's much more on the matte side. It's very subtle. It's one of those blushes that you can't go overboard with. It's a peach that leans a little bit brown. But on me, on my skin tone, it is just so orange. It's that orangey peach, even though it's so subtle, even though the blend is so beautiful. I feel like even in 2016 or maybe 17 when I purchased it and I was in my early 30s, like late 20s, early 30s, it was probably 30, 31 when I bought it. Even then, it was like my face was a little bit younger and it still worked for me to really have like that orange pop. And that was what I was looking for when I went and I bought this blush at Sephora. I remember it so clearly. Now I feel just a little bit less comfortable with that shade range for a blush, with that kind of color. I'm trying to explain myself, but really I feel like all I need to say is that I covet this blush in my collection because it feels like a precious jewel. I think it ranked very highly when I ranked my blushes. But when I was doing this declutter, I looked at it and I was like, I haven't worn it. I haven't worn it in 2 years. I haven't worn it since the beginning of my channel, except for when I shopped my stash for it and made myself wear it. I do not take any pleasure in it except for the pleasure of looking at this packaging and seeing how pretty it is and remembering my fondness for it back when I bought it. And that was enough of a reason to keep it in my collection until now. But now, with the new cream blushes coming in, with this being my year of less stuff, the fact that I haven't worn it in 2 years is the nail in its coffin. So in the same breath, I decided to get rid of this other Givenchy product, which is very pretty. It came in PR. Every time I swatched it, I was like, ooh, I want to keep it, I want to keep it. And then what I did was I swatched it next to my Kevyn Aucoin Neo highlighter in Sahara. And the full swatch of that going through like the entire gradient of all 3 colors next to this, it makes the exact same color, but it's a little bit more sheeny. Like the sheen in the one from Kevyn Aucoin is just a little bit more exciting and gratifying. This is the Givenchy Healthy Glow Powder in 2.5 Natural Rose. It is a really, really, really beautiful powder. Beautiful color, beautiful powder, kind of like a soft peachy bronzing powder. A really great bronzer for someone with a very pale skin tone. But I already have that in the Kevyn Aucoin product, which is like my all-time holy grail. So I can give this away too. So I really went for it with the blushes. 4 blushes are leaving my collection and 5 blushes are entering my collection. I would rather have more going out than going in, but if you add the highlighters in, if you're looking at like my cheek products that are going out and my cheek products that are coming in, if you add the highlighters in, then I am getting rid of more than I bought this month. So I had kept 3 of these Fluid Universal glosses because they are so pretty and I had all 3 colors and I was just like, oh, I couldn't decide. But in this declutter, I was like, I only need 1. So I kept the more neutral one and I'm going to give away Roxy, which is the pink one, and Rain, which is the blue one. I think the one that I kept is called Elysium and it's like really silver and glossy. It's the one I always reach for anyway. And then I was looking at my powder highlighters and I was like, I only need 1, really. 1 or 2, and I just almost never use powder highlight. These days what I'll do is I'll use a little bit of a powder highlight just on the tips of my cheekbones, just on top of all of the other stuff on my cheeks. If I need to go over with something that's not going to disturb anything, just a little pop. But I'm not like choosing which powder highlight to use every day the way that I guess I used to. So I felt like I could whittle it down by at least 1. And the 3 that I have, the Fenty one I'm not counting because to me it's a different formula. It's pretty much pure glitter and it's in a clear base, so to me, it's not a powder highlight. It's like a fine face glitter that gives a very wet look. So it was between these three. I have the Elsie one in Luna, which is sort of like a nudie pink color. And I've ended up liking it a lot more than I expected to because it's very glossy. When I swatched the three of them together, it was the one that seemed the finest milled, the glossiest. And it's also a good match for my actual skin tone, so it blends well with other things. So then it was really between these two because they're both light gold. One is the Madison Miller Ofra highlighter and the other is the Cali Glow highlighter in Laguna from Persona. They are both so pretty. And Laguna is just a tiny bit darker. I love both of these formulas, but Laguna is just a tiny bit darker. Madison Miller Moon Dance just matches my skin a tiny bit better, and so I decided that this one can go, not because I don't love it, because I've kept it through a couple declutters because I do love it, but because I truly only need one. I only want one. So I'm letting go of the one that's just slightly less ideal color-wise. So that means that even after my vicious and serious declutter at the end of last year, 7 more cheek products are leaving my collection today and making room for the 6 that I purchased this month. I really wanted to be harder on myself with lip products, but my lip collection is pretty edited for me at this point. I decided that I don't need to keep this Doll 10 High Shine Liquid Lip. It's a beautiful formula and I really like how it smells, but I just didn't feel the same spark of joy when I was going through my lip products for this one as I did for everything else. And then this is my NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in London, which is a color that I love, and I could see myself buying this again in the future. It's very hard to find a pretty neutral, very light nude that leans yellow like this does. I also have the lip liner, which is lasting a lot longer than this did. It's pretty much empty. Like I think I could, in good conscience, put it in my empties, but because it's all dried out, like it's really hard to get a good application of this. But I'm just going to go ahead and include it in this video because we're doing this now. So these 2 lip products are out. I kind of went in on my glitters. So I decided to let go of this. It's just like a loose glitter, I think it's cosmetic glitter, but I'm not 100% sure, and that's part of why I decided to let it go. It's from this brand Glitties. I think I bought it on Amazon ages ago. I've had a hard time letting it go because it's very unusual. It's got like matte lavender and shiny blue and lavender in it, and it looks really cool on the eyes and the face. I just haven't been using it. I just never use it. Since those Cliona shadows came into my life, I haven't reached as much for my like tube glitters and glitters in pots, like liquid glitters and glitter gels and stuff. I just haven't been reaching for them that much lately. And also the ColourPop press glitters, I tend to reach for those more than this kind of thing. So I was like, I can get some chaff out of this collection. I also didn't declutter this kind of thing during my end of year declutters either. So I'm letting go of this loose glitter. I don't need that. This one from Pixie, I kept it because it's got a beautiful black base and then it's got silver and gold glitter mixed together, and I love that. But every time I've used it, and I've tried actually a couple of times to get like a really dark, smoky, like nighttime party look out of this, it patches up on me. So that can go. And then this little tiny Stila Glitter and Glow in Gold Goddess. I've had it for a long time, and again, I never reach for it anymore. I have other glitter products I can use if I want something like this. So all 3 of those are going. The Pure Arch Nemesis brow pencil thing, it's like dry as a bone. It just feels like chalk to me. And then the little spoolie on the end is not a spoolie. It's this little toothbrush shaped thing that doesn't work for me either. So nothing about this is working, letting it go. I decided to get rid of my MAC NC15 NW20 chromographic pencil that works for eyes and lips. I used to use it all the time to lighten up my lip color, and I used to use it to line my eyes too, but the top is cracked, it's dried out, and I haven't used it in over a year. Oh, this is weird. So this was a little sample that I had of the Sicily hair oil. Hair Ritual by Sicily Precious Hair Care Oil. It was in my backups box. It got inventoried. I took it out recently to try it and it felt so slimy. And then I checked the ingredients and its first ingredient is dimethicone. So it's just like coating the hair with dimethicone to make it feel silky. And I have other hair oils that are actually like nourishing oils for the hair. But that's not what this is. It's like a silkifying treatment. So I'm not gonna put that on my hair. I'm getting rid of that. These are 2 sharpeners that I'm getting rid of. One is a big size sharpener and one is a small size sharpener. I do have another big and small together sharpener, and then I also have the one from Glossier Play. So I didn't need to keep those. My M Cosmetics Illustrative Eyeliner. It's like the black felt tip liner. It's 2 years old at this point, and I think it's still working, but I never use it. So I was just like, don't need to keep it. I don't use any liquid eyeliner. It was my only liquid eyeliner. I just never use it. I like never do a wing. Benefit Gimme Brow. I'm just frustrated with it. It doesn't really keep my brows up in the way that the Covergirl one does. And it's kind of pigmented and so it gets all over. I don't need to keep trying to make it work. The last of what's in here are the lashes that I decluttered. So Alter Ego sent me a bunch of their lashes. They launched lashes recently. They're very pretty, and I did keep a couple of pairs. I kept like the more dramatic pairs. The one time I tried on a pair of Alter Ego lashes, it was something about my eye shape and the way that I like lashes to look. I kind of like lashes to look heavy and sultry and winged out, and these all seem like really curled up. So it felt like they were like a doll's lash that blinks open and closed. So I don't think that they're like my #1 lash brand, but I did keep a couple to keep trying just in case. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of Alter Ego lashes that I'm not using. This set of really crazy purple Makeup Forever lashes that I purchased a long time ago, like before my no-buy year, because I thought they were cool and I could never really get them to shape to my eyes. They were like too flat. These Creme Shop lashes that I got in PR. Then there's like a really grody old liquid liner from MAC, 2 dried out lash glues and another lash glue. All of this was inventoried. I remember when I inventoried my like box of lash accoutrement. This is a pair of old Ardell's. Oh, this I didn't catch before. It's a really tiny Fiona Styles waterproof eye defining pencil in the color Orchard. It's like a wine purple, and it's dried out enough that it's like rattling around in there, so it's not really usable anymore. Its day has come. And then the last thing in here is the Kevyn Aucoin contour sculpting powder in the shade Light. I kept it. My reasoning before was like, even though I don't contour, if I ever do want to contour, this is the one that I would want. But at this point, just like a month, less than a month after I reasoned that way about this before, that reasoning doesn't cut the mustard anymore. So this is also going to go. I'm going to count everything up as I put it back in the box. Okay, so 41 things, not counting the brushes, because I already counted them and I already marked them on my stuff out sheet. The rest of this adds up to 41. So I am going to mark 41 marks on my stuff out tally right now. Okay, so the stuff out and stuff in tally is looking like amazing right now. So you can probably see from there that this is the stuff in and that's the stuff out. But I haven't yet marked anything that I bought this month on my stuff in list. Oh no, I did at the beginning of the month. So when I bought those bras and I replaced my sneakers and stuff, that was the stuff that I marked at the beginning of the month. But the blushes and stuff, the cream blushes that I bought and a couple other things I bought, I'm waiting until I do my stuff I bought with my budget this month video, and then I'm going to like mark it on my stuff in list on camera. So really I have acquired and purchased more than just this stuff. I also marked stuff on here when I did my Purgatory box, my Reckoning. I marked the stuff I kept. So I marked a couple of the things. But no matter what, no matter you know how much I add with like the cream blushes and the other things I bought, I'm way, way ahead with stuff out. Right now it's at 125. 125 things have gone out of my life so far this month. So that's exciting. And I think that the next thing I'm going to do is to declutter my backups box, because I don't need that much stuff waiting around to be used, waiting around to be tested. There are some things in there that I do want to keep and test later after I make room for them in one way or another. But there are definitely things in there that I think I over-enthusiastically decided to keep that I can let go, especially because I am about to pack up a box to send to Project Beauty Share. So I think what I'll do next is I'll declutter my backups box, and then I will pack up that box to send to Project Beauty Share, including like some of these clean brushes that I decluttered and other things that I might have just decluttered that they accept. And I'll do all of that on camera. That will probably be my next video. So if you're interested in that, if you want to see some more declutter content and some donation content, make sure you're subscribed. Keep an eye out for that next video. It's coming shortly. Thank you for watching this one. And don't forget to take extra good care of yourself so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.